49, section 4, number 6, the simultaneous and apparently independent development of several ancient cultures of a myth of creatures who were half human and half horse parallels the increased use of horses in these cultures. But despite the nobility and gentleness traditionally ascribed to the horse, the mythical half-horse, half-humans were frequently portrayed as violent and savage. Many human cultures use myth to express unconscious thoughts, so these mythical creatures obviously reflect people's unconscious fear of the horse. That's just such a stupid conclusion to reach. If horses are normally thought of as noble and gentle, then all of a sudden now we have a centaur, and now it's because you're subconsciously afraid of horses? Or because I'm afraid of a fucking half-human, half-horse monster? Like, why wouldn't that conclude it must be unconscious fear of man? Why does it just say why is that we're afraid of the horse? The reasoning is flawed because it A, fails to show that the mythical creature mentioned represents the horse in people's minds. Well, wait a second. It's half horse though. I don't love that answer because it is half a horse. B, fails to consider that people might have good reason to fear horses. It does fail to consider that, but that's not a problem. I mean, it's trying to conclude that it's a fear of horses, so that's not a problem with the logic. C, confuses the expression of unconscious thoughts with the suppression of them. It doesn't do that. That would be crazy to do that. It doesn't do that. D, fails to demonstrate that the myth was not borrowed from one of the cultures by the others. Why did they need to demonstrate that? Who cares if it was or wasn't borrowed from another culture? E, fails to explain why people use myth for the expression of unconscious thoughts. It doesn't need to do that either. So I'm going to actually go back to A. Maybe people aren't actually thinking of this centaur as a horse. They're thinking of it as a monster. By the way, the upper half of the thing was the human half. The part holding the bow or the sword or whatever was the human half. And so maybe they were just afraid of rampaging warriors. The centaur could have symbolized the conquistadors or whatever coming in with steel on the back of a horse, but that's not afraid of a horse, that's afraid of a conquistador. And so A is the best description of what they did there, what they did wrong.